almost like I find sports bikes and the road don't make a lot of sense really, do they? They're a lot of fun, but they don't make a lot of sense. My first foray with sports bikes was, I mean, the Katana 550 was classed as a sports bike, but yeah, we won't go down that route. But the proper sports bike, full fairing, handlebars near the wheel spindle and the seat halfway to Mercury, was the MB 750 F4 Augusta. Beautiful bike, but I had the 2 years I had it, I only did about 600-700 miles on it because of my back, went breakdown problems, electrical problems. But the worst thing was the bad back, and I'd regretted selling it because I never really got the best out of it. But it didn't make a lot of sense at the time because I never really rode it as it should be ridden. The first sports bike after the MB Augusta was this TL, which I've had about 7 years now. And that didn't make a lot of sense either until you went over 90 on it, and then it made complete sense. Engine smoothed out, it was in its power band. The wind sort of went over your helmet, not blowing it straight in my face as it is at the moment. This is on private roads, of course. And then it makes complete sense. This on the road is not brilliant. We have two sorts of roads in the fence. Twisty and bumpy, or straight and smooth. So because we're on sports bikes, we're going on the straight and smooth before we go to Northampton and Leicestershire to find the smooth and twisty roads, basically. So you'll have to forgive the boring visage. But yes, when you get over 90 miles an hour, you know, you can just get in the bubble and all the wind resistance goes, and it's almost like you've got a turbocharger because all the wind and all the buffeting goes, and it's smooth and it makes sense. But as I was saying, sports bikes of this generation, the 90s ones, and even the MV Augusta, were absolutely horrendous on the roads around town. I think even Anna's 21st century Gicture is not a nice bike to ride through town. They're uncomfortable, they're glitchy, they run rough, well mine does. But when you're allowed to stretch the legs, hello, talking about you when you're glorious. Doesn't she look smart, ladies and gentlemen? With her black and white leathers on and a black motorcycle. Yeah, very smart. But when you get these things on the track, which we did with this a couple of years ago, 3 years ago now, they make absolute complete sense. This handled like an absolute dream. It didn't step out of line once. It was absolutely amazing. The grip, the lean angle, the power, everything was fantastic. I mean, it's only 135 brake, but you feel all those 135. But on the road, no, it's very wayward. It likes a smooth road surface. It doesn't like bumpy roads because it gets upset. And you project into a corner with the particular angle you want, and it picks its own line basically. You cannot tighten it, you know, you've got a wayward sort of, but it is precise on the track. I mean, it's a lump, it's a heavy beast, it could do with about 20 kilos shaving off it, but it is nimble on a track. Well, I did take your ZXR out the other day, which was lovely. That really didn't affect me at all. That was a really nice. Then I didn't have full leathers on, did I? I had my girl pants on, so didn't I? So yeah, I think it's the leathers has something to do with it. It's a bit restrictive. It's a bit like having a cuddle by a python at the moment. Well, we haven't been out on the sports bikes, have we, for 9 months? That's why. We couldn't have got in these leathers anyway a couple of months ago, so exactly, yeah. They'd shrunk. No, we weren't too fat motorcycle fans. They'd shrunk. It's true. they do that, you know, hang them up in the wardrobe, and some little magic fairy comes along and springs shrinking dust on them, and they shrink. It's true. Yeah. This is when these bikes make no sense at all. My neck's aching, my shoulders are aching. As soon as I get a bit of speed, it's alright. No, it's a riding position, my head up, isn't it, rather than your head being neutral. Yeah, my back of my knee's still a bit bunched up with the leathers, so... Oh, putting my leg out, that shouldn't have done that. Oops, this has gone down. We sometimes play a little game, because obviously Anna's got a collection of 4 motorbikes, and I've got, I don't know, 8, 9. It's the... If you could only keep one bike, what would you keep? And invariably we go for the more practical one. Before I got rid of the Ducati, it would have been the Ducati. Now the Warrior replaced the Ducati, it would be the Warrior, because it could do most things. It can't scratch very well, it can't take it on a track day, but you can tour it, commute it, have a bit of fun on it, you know. Whereas any other bikes are very single-minded. They're, yeah, I think focused. I've been corrected. Yeah, are very focused on the classic bikes. Are good at being classics, I suppose, and the sports bikes are sports bikes. And I know there are people with just a sports bike, which I think. Vitally, for example, has got his lovely new CBR 1005 blade, which is lovely. And yes, he may commute on it and do the usual stuff while he's putting his hazards on. So yes, having sports bikes, if it's your only bike, then great. I mean, if you look at practical bikes and sports bikes, I'm gonna include cruisers, customs, some nakeds. They're sexy. They are sexy bikes. When you come to a practical touring bike or an average commuter bike, there's not many that you would consider sexy. I think the Ducati Multi was, for an adventure bike, was pretty sexy, but yeah, come on, you put that against oh, I don't know, like the ZXR for example, and God, that is sexy, it really is. So, sexy is not usually practical. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you had to par down to one bike, it'd probably be a more practical rather than a sexy one. So I'm gibbering on now, shut up.